Depression. It's just a word, right? Just something kids nowadays use when they don't want to go to school. I'm so depressed to go to school, Mom. Can you call the school and tell them I'm sick? But for some people, this is reality. A friend of mine once asked me, "Why are you always so sad? Try lighten up a bit. Try being more happy and see things in brighter colors." And I used to tell them, "Of course." I'd smile and I'd say I'm happy. I'm happy. And yet every time when I got home, I couldn't help but cry. Sometimes not even knowing what about. And the next day at school, I'd see my friend and they'd say, "Act more happy, you're always so down." And it got to the point where I couldn't take it any longer. I told her to leave me alone, and they did. But not before going to teachers and telling them that there was something wrong because I'd always seemed so down. Then in class the next day, the teacher would come out and take me out of class into another room just to sit me down and tell me the same goddamn thing. Try to be more happy. And every time she'd see me, she'd tell me, "Be more happy. Lighten up. Be more happy." Always the same goddamn thing. As if it's that easy. Depression isn't a toy. Depression isn't a light switch that you can turn on and off. Rather, it's a light switch that's always stuck off no matter what you try to do, and it won't go on. Depression is like a small closed up room with only one very small window, and the light would never reach inside, and on the one day it does, a shadow would come and close the window off. So when you tell people to act more happy, it hurts. Because even though they try, they never seem to succeed. I stood up and I told her to mind her own business and leave me alone, like she'd know anything about it. I built high walls so no one could come in and see my vulnerability. And little did I know that the friend who always told me to act more happy had depression herself. You feel like you aren't worth the time of others. And when you hear "be more happy," you feel like you did a bad job. A bad job at hiding it and a bad job at pretending. You make a new fitting mask to put on every day so others won't notice your pain, and so you hope you can feel a bit better about yourself, but it never does. Depression is like a small little kid who's always with you. No one sees them but you. And the only thing it does is eat away at your insecurities and fear. For some, the fear of being alone, and for others, the fear of being bullied. For some, something else. And you can't talk to anyone about it, because no one would understand. No one sees that child. No one but you. And no matter where you run, it'll always find you. And you run, and you run, and you run, until there's nowhere to go anymore. You're at a cliff. And you can choose, stay there and walk back to that kid, or jump off. I say no. Because even though you might feel like giving up, like there's no one in the world who gives a shit about you, there are still people who do. Think about your family. They loved you enough to put you on this planet and to give you a life. They care about you because they give everything they are to give you a life that you deserve. There are people who do care. So if you find yourself at that cliffside, don't jump. Don't be afraid to walk up to that kid called depression and tell them straight to their face that you are cared for, that there are people in the world who love you, and don't be afraid to tell them the fact. You are special and unique. Don't forget that. You are worth living, and most importantly, you are loved. Because each day you wake up, and yet despite having these horrible feelings, you always find a way to get through each day. You inspire so many people each day, and every single day, sometimes without even knowing it. For what it's worth, you inspire me. Because for whatever reason, you kept going on. There was something that drove you further, and there is something that made you not give up. And there are some that will tell you that you'll fall and that you won't do anything good in your life. But don't listen, because you know better. How else have you survived this long? Never forget, you are a survivor.